Good morning. All right, give us 2 seconds to load up. Just drink my coffee because it's early. All right, let's do this thing. If there's a stretch that I do not go over that you'd like to see, either put it in the comments or send me a message. We'll add it to the next one. It has been a while since we've done a live, but we're back and at it. The kids are back in school, which means I get about 45 seconds to myself in the morning again, which is awesome. Let's start with the neck and work our way down. So we got a request for neck, shoulders, hips, back. I think those are the big ones, some postural stretches. First things first, if you're having trouble with your postural stabilizers, if you find that you're in this head forward position, forward shoulder position, sort of rounded back, you are tight in your hip flexors, you're tight in your pecs, you're tight in the back of your neck. If you're in your car at all during the day, I want you to adjust your mirrors so that you have beautiful posture when you get in the car. And then when you're driving, you will notice when you sag, and that can be a big weight on your postural stabilizers. If you're not in the car, put a sticky note on the wall that you can see eye to eye with when you're in beautiful posture. And then as you slump during the day and you're doing your work, look up your sticky note and say, hey, is that, like, put a headlamp on your head, look at the wall, see where the headlamp hits, put a sticky note right there. And then if you're not dead eyes with that sticky note, then you know your posture could use some correction. And those repetitive postural corrections over the course of the day will really loosen up those tight postural muscles and strengthen the right ones. All right, so let's start with upper trap levator stretches. One of my favorites. Stick your hand underneath the bottom of your chair. Lean your head the other way. Feel the stretch. That's it. You're opening this space. You should feel the stretch in the top of your shoulder up to the base of your neck, but not at the joint itself. So any of these stretches you want to feel in the muscle belly. So you're not feeling a stretch at the joint space. You're not feeling a stretch at the joint space. You're feeling a stretch at the space between the joint, which is where the muscle is. So when we're doing this stretch, you're feeling a stretch along your upper traps, not at the neck itself. If you have a pinch in your neck when you're stretching, whether it's on the side that you're stretching or on the other side, I want you to stop and do some postural corrections. So get your head in alignment, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, and I want you to press into your hand 2 times this way, 2 times this way. Again, trying to maintain that good posture, so isometric. You're not really going anywhere, you're just pressing. And then come back, and then come forward. So you're just resisting the motion. You're resisting your own hand. So your hand is trying to push you the other way. Your head is resisting back. So you're staying in alignment. And then I want you to try the stretch again and see if you still have that pinch. If you still have that pinch, shoot me a message. We'll see if we can't troubleshoot it. But if the pinch is gone and you're getting the stretch where you need it and not a pinch on the other side, much better alignment. Sometimes things just don't align right and they become problematic. So again, you're going to hand underneath the chair, stretch the other way. If you want a deeper stretch, you can just apply a little extra overpressure. I'm just pulling gently to get a deeper stretch. And you can also come forward and back to sort of pinpoint where you want that stretch to be, where it feels best. Because sometimes different parts of our muscles are tight. Next one is hands on the chest, so you're sort of taking up the slack of your skin. So you're going to press in and pull down and let your hands and your skin sort of be heavy as one. And then you're going to go back and away, and you're going to feel it again in the muscle belly, right through the middle. So you're not going to get a pinching in your spine. You're not going to get a pinching in your shoulder. You're going to hold that for 30 seconds. And then the other side. Oh, I feel that in my jaw. Good. All right, so again, hands on your chest, on your skin, and you're just going to let them be heavy and take up the slack in that tissue so it's sort of tight and hangy, and then you're going to stretch the muscle underneath and hold that for 30 seconds. shoulder stretches. Moving on. Cross your body, but this is not a stretch where this hand pulls it over. This is a stretch where you're going to resist back into this hand and pull your shoulder forward. So let's see if I can do this sideways so you can see. So this hand is pulling towards me. This hand is pushing out, and I'm pulling through the back of my shoulder. I'm not feeling it in the joint. This is not a pinchy joint stretch. I want you to feel it in the posterior part, the back part of your shoulder. So this is just sort of a leverage point that lets you stretch it out. So this arm is pushing out this way. You can almost feel a stretch if you do it just this, and then the added resistance of that, not on your elbow, above, so you're not pushing on a joint space, and you're just opening that shoulder out. If that doesn't feel comfortable to you, you can do it in a doorway just as easily. So you get the same leverage with a longer lever arm, so you're just holding it at your hand, and then you can lean back into the stretch and feel it. That's another good stretch for the upper thoracic. So if you're tight along your bra line, you can hold the door and you can lean back into it and get a good stretch. I hope you guys can see me. Get a good stretch along that mid part, the inner part of your shoulder blades. That's a really good stretch for that. The gas pedal stretch is another good stretch. Grab your toes, push away. Your foot is going that way. I've got dark on dark on dark today, guys. Sorry. Your foot is pushing down like you're pushing on a gas pedal. This is a lot easier to do sitting down. But I don't think I can show you with the setup. So push down like you're pushing on a gas pedal, and you're pulling the whole back of your shoulder, your middle of your shoulder blade is just getting pulled open as you push down on that gas pedal and get a good stretch through there. All right, any questions so far? Anything you guys really want to say? Should we keep plugging along? I feel like I should have a straw and I can just drink my coffee off to the side. All right, let's move on to the hips. I'm going to get to one low back stretch at the end, but I want to talk about it first. So let's get on to the quads. This is one of my favorite quad stretches. I'm going to show you from two angles. So you hook your foot. Hold on, we got to get low. Hook your foot, your knees are lined up. You press your pelvis forward, and then you sink down. You should feel this in the middle of your thigh. That's where the bulk of your quads are. That's what you need to stretch. You don't need to stretch up here. This is to stretch here. If you're feeling it in your joint, if you're feeling it in your knee, send me a message. We'll modify something for you. I know that people who tend to be a little bit more flexible feel the stretches in their joint spaces, and they think, oh, I must be doing a good stretch. But the intent of these are to stretch your muscles. Your joint spaces are supposed to be relatively tight and intact. Your muscles are the things that can contract and relax. From the side, the way this one looks, is your knees are lined up. So they're in the same plane. You're moving your pelvis forward, and then you're sinking down by bending the opposite knee. And you're getting a good stretch through there. All right, and then all of these are sort of hold for 30 seconds, repeat 3 times. Doing a stretch warm is the best way to do it, which means go up and down the stairs a few times. You just don't want to be stretching a cold muscle, get off the couch, roll right into it. If you have kids, just run around the house with your kids a few times. Hamstring stretch. This is one of my favorite hamstring stretches. You find your kitchen counter. You lean on your kitchen counter. You take a nap if you want. But what I want you to do is I want you to drive back through your bum. Yeah. I know, guys, my tech skills are on point. Okay, so you drive back through your bum. So your feet are hip width apart, and they're honestly a little bit forward of your hips. So if you're standing, you're dropping your hips back, your feet aren't moving, they're forward of your hips. You press back through your bum. This is not a low back stretch. So my low back, my whole back is mobile, but I'm still getting a hamstring stretch. I want you to feel it middle of your butt cheek to like a hand's distance above your thigh, above your knee. If you're not feeling it in the middle, if you're feeling it in your low back, or if you're feeling it like at your SI joint, right at the top of your tailbone, I want you to contract your abdominals, so breathe out, suck it in, and then I want you to try it again with a deep breath out. And then push long through your bum. Now, you might need to tuck your pelvis underneath you. You might need to bend your knees a little bit. But this is where you should feel the stretch. How your body is put together to get this stretch is not how my body is put together. So you might need to do some pelvic rocking, a little arch and a tuck. Find where that stretch is, and then try and straighten your knees out and see if you get a deeper stretch through there. I do not want this to be a low back stretch, which is why I recommend that you rest yourself on the counter so that you're supporting your core, you're supporting your abdominals. Another good hamstring stretch is this guy. Straight plane. In you go. There you go. So easy. All right, what do we got? If you sit all day, do you need to stretch your hamstrings? I feel like mine are already overstretched from sitting. You do need to stretch your hamstrings because your hamstrings cross the knee joint. So if you're sitting all day, your knee is bent in 90 degrees. And so the lower part of your hamstrings are pretty tight. So you might be overstretched in the bum, but tighten the hamstrings that are sort of closer to your knee. You might get a little relief from stretching your calves, which stand on the bottom step and drop your calves down to get a nice calf stretch, and then go up on your toes, drop your calves down, like a nice active stretch is good. But sometimes because your hamstrings, you're sitting all day, your hamstrings are firing all day, they're keeping your knee in that bent position. They might feel a little overstressed because they're feeling weak because they're working all day. So we get tight in anything that keeps us bent. So the hip flexors keep us bent, the hamstrings keep us bent. Most of the time we're sort of up on that toe position. We're not doing a flat foot 90-90. And so your calves can get really tight, which also crosses the back of the knee. And so your hamstrings and your calves are sort of a team. But yeah, I would say anything that's tight is probably tight and weak. So strengthening your hamstrings will give you as much benefit as stretching your hamstrings. You should probably do them both in conjunction. Because think about a full range of motion for a joint. So if I just use my bicep in this range, I will be very strong in this range. But what happens when I go past that? I don't have much functional strength past that. So if I'm just using my hamstrings in a bent position all day, but I'm not using them at the end range of that straight, then they're not going to be very supportive at the end of a straight knee position. So stretching and strengthening go hand in hand. I think a lot of times we think like, oh, that's tight, so it must be strong and tight, but a lot of times it is weak and tight. And same go for the quads. So if your hamstrings are feeling like they're not quite doing their full job, your quads are probably too tight or too weak and not doing their job too. All right, 2 more stretches to go over. This one I like because it's stretch. Hold on, I gotta maybe this way. We'll get the light behind us. All right, so leg is down and across, and then in we go. You're just leaning into it. So this is a pretty high chair. You might be able to do this onto your bed, or if you lay down on your bed, you can bring your leg up in the same position. You're welcome. Nice to see you. I miss you. I hope you had a good summer. So you could either bring your body down into your knee, down you go, and you're going to feel it right in the middle of your butt cheek. Again, if you're getting a pinching in the front, I want you to go back and do some of the quad stretches. Where you hang your knee off. We just went over that like 2 seconds ago. If you're still getting a pinching in the front, let me know, and we'll try and troubleshoot through it. But this one, you should feel it in the bent leg, so the leg that's on the chair or the bed, right in the middle of that butt cheek, and just lean into it. And so for this one, I want you to breathe in, and as you breathe out, I want you to sink deeper into the stretch. And what that does is it contracts your abdominals, which supports your low back and supports your pelvis, and it lets you get a more specific stretch. So as you breathe out, you're actually contracting your transverse abdominis, which is controlling the support of your core, which means this does not become a low back stretch. It does not become painful. If it does, send me a message. We'll work through it. But again, I love this one. It's a good stretch for those hips, those tight external rotators. Cross it forward, lean into it, push back through your bum a little bit, through the bum side that you're stretching. Just push your weight back through there. Get that deep stretch. Breathe in. Down you go, right into the stretch. The last stretch that I want to adjust, somebody asked for a low back stretch. And I cautiously approach low back stretching because the low back has so many things going on. It could be like an SI discomfort. It could be a hip discomfort. It could be a low back strain discomfort. It could be like the way that you walk, your gait is a little funky, and that's adding to like tightness in the quadratus. So when it comes to low back stretching, I don't mind an active stretch for just sort of like a basic everyday stretching. But when it comes to like specific back stretching, I caution it only because it's so easy to tweak that. It's so easy to tweak your back if something's not like lining up right or something's too tight. And I would just hate for anybody to like try a stretch that really throws them for a loop. So the one stretch that I would say for the low back that I like the best, it's just the cat-cow. Because you're on all fours, so you're really stable through your shoulders and your hips. You're contracting your abdominals through your breathing. Your shoulder blades are activated, and when your shoulder blades are activated, they activate your abdominals and your glutes. Think about what happens when you stand tall. Our ears come over our shoulders roll back and down, and the second that postural stabilizer sort of cascade gets activated, when you drop those shoulders, you automatically stabilize from the front because there needs to be a counterbalance. And when you stabilize from the front, that very small abdominal contraction actually activates your glutes. So everybody holds your posture in that good position. You have that 3-point postural stabilizers, shoulder blades and butt in the back, abs in the front. When we're here, we get that 3-point from the other way. So we get it from the pecs, we get it from the low back, we get it from the hip flexors. So in quadruped position on all fours, you get more of those postural stabilizers activated. So let's make sure you can see me. All right, so hands under shoulders. I'm going to turn Siri on my watch accidentally. It should tell us something, some piece of information. Hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, and I just want you to cat-cow. So you're just arching and sinking. That's it. So there's a pelvic tilt in there that helps release any pelvic tightness, SI tilt, and just breathing. So when it comes to that back stretch, I want you to be cautious. If this doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just shoot me a message again. We can figure something out. If you want to rock side to side in this position, or if you want to drop your hips to one side, I feel like that might loosen you up. But again, you're putting feedback into your shoulder blades, which is incorporating your abdominals. They're getting tight underneath, and your butt is stabilizing your hips in place. And so maybe like 5 cat-cows, and then 5 rocks to the side, sit back a little bit. And the child's pose is a pretty safe back stretch to open you up. But I would caution as you're getting up, if you're having any of that low back instability, if it's not just a stretch you're looking for, if you're feeling really unstable, you feel like you have to sort of like eke yourself through transitions when you're getting out of bed in the morning or when you're getting off the floor, I would caution that only because you don't need to open something that should be adjusted better. If you're having low back problems, shoot me a message, reach out. We can see what we can do about it. But just be conscious with your low back stretching. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I think I hit most people. what, here, let me bring you up, and what the questions we had today. If I missed anything, send me a message, and we'll do another one. We'll do another one soon anyway. Bye, guys. Thank you.